Hello again, welcome back to NDI Central Live here at NAB 2018. Once again, we're webcasting live from the NewTek booth in the South Hall of the Las Vegas Convention Center. And we're talking all things NDI. And as we've heard, graphics systems have benefited greatly from NDI technology. And another fantastic graphics system that incorporates NDI is NewBlueFX. And from NewBlue, we have Travis White, VP of Products. Welcome, Travis.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, doing well. How are you doing?
Doing very good, thank you.
How's the show going for you?
Oh, it's been fantastic. We have a lot of partners that we've been working with, especially NDI has been a gateway into a lot of stuff that we've been doing. So we've been very thankful.
Great to hear. Well, for those that don't know, tell us about NewBlueFX.
Okay. Well, NewBlueFX, it started out as a video effect company. And so that was doing video effects in video editing applications, such as Avid Media Composer, Adobe Premiere, Edius Grass Valley, you name it. And then we noticed that the titling solutions in these editing platforms weren't the greatest. I mean, they got the job done, but they weren't animated, they weren't 3D. And you had to go to a motion graphic designer to get anything done. So we decided to make something called Titler Pro. And Titler Pro was a 3D animated titling plugin in the NLE space. And then after some time, we're like, wait a minute, this is the same thing that goes on in live production. And we know that there's a lot of big iron that does a lot of the motion graphics today, and we can do something better on a greater amount of platforms. So that's really something that we wanted to get into, and now it's been like 2.5 years running, and just building that base up really well. So
and you adopted NDI pretty early on, didn't you?
I think we were the first.
Right from the get-go.
Exactly, and so that was a real coup, I would say, for the accessibility, democratization of what people can accomplish with productions. We do also work with SDI, but a lot of situations they don't need that solution. They need a networked solution, right? And just having a partner, having just SDI running here in a remote location, changing their data, and they're switching elsewhere, and the results coming up here at the show. And so it turns out to be just a fantastic solution.
Well, tell us about the key features of NewBlue Titler.
Well, I guess key differentiators of Titler Live, which would be the main product, for NewTek customers, for other switching customers, is that it runs on little laptops. It's Windows-based, it's Mac-based, it's Linux-based, and it's generic GPU usage. So you don't need, again, big iron and big GPUs. It can actually run on just Intel integrated platforms as well. If you have a dedicated GPU like AMD or NVIDIA, that helps in some of your prep work. But it's real-time animated stuff that's just accessible on all these different platforms.
And then, so you have some. What are some of the latest improvements?
Well, we're coming out with
the Ntx Engine. What is that?
Yes. Okay. So our engine is really kind of our secret sauce that enables all this, right? And it's the NTX system, and that means a couple different things. One is it's the engine that allows us to have animated motion changes on lower resource systems, on servers, on a lot of different platforms. But it also means the API that we have available. So we have an API where you can customize your own control over the graphics. So whether it's through JSON or XML or HTML plus JavaScript, you can make your own controllers for your own needs and very dedicate how you control data, how you can control playback. And so we've added a lot more into that Ntx Engine, and also new in this upcoming release is improvements on simple spreadsheet work, right? We had single line spreadsheet control, and now we have block mode where you can have full tables for larger graphic situations.
Okay. Yeah. So how are people implementing some of those customizable capabilities?
Well, it depends on what they want to do. We ship a lot of what we call inputs or controllers for sports, for social media, and then so the customer that wants something out of the box, there it is, right? If a customer is more specialized, they're doing a certain game show, they're doing a certain sport event, they can engage us and learn about the API, and maybe they have HTML and JavaScript skills on their team. They can go hire somebody to do that and customize those workflows.
So for bringing in stats and quickly automated processes, those sorts of things.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's very Very powerful that way.
Okay. And do we have something set up to, there we go, so we're seeing the interface now.
Yeah, so what we have here is a simple graphic, if you go ahead and bring that up.
And we're bringing this into our system, obviously, through NDI.
NDI, right? So this is a simple graphic that's it's a 3D. It's a box. If I fly it back out and fly it back in, you see it is truly not just a wipe situation, but a true 3D situation. And what you can do is go ahead and, let's say, change an image. So it's live, and let's say you want a new sponsor to come in. Right? So that sponsor comes in, the thing's still live, you have those glints moving, but now you want to do an update. And what ends up happening is that box flies away and brings in the new graphic. Let's see if it does that. So it has that new graphic in there.
Okay.
So we can also do multiple channels. So we can do up to 16 different channels of NDI. And in each of those channels, we can have unlimited layers. So let's say I wanted to unlink this graphic and bring in another bug, another lower third. Okay. So you could just be running one NDI stream and have umpteen number of graphic layers that you're doing and completely control from Titler Live.
Okay.
Or you can be, let's say, at a switching console, let's say a NewTek TriCaster, for example.
And break all those channels out.
And break all those channels out, and then use macros on the TriCaster, control which channel's coming in. And it's not just the fade in now, it's the control back to Titler Live to animate in, to animate out, those kinds of things.
That's very flexible, very, very flexible. And then, okay, so one other thing that I know we can do with it, because I've seen this done. Kane Peterson really got into NewBlue. Our macros can control the effects and graphics, or
yes,
can control
and that
too.
ends up to be very powerful, especially in the TriCaster situation. So what you can do is you can set up a macro to, let's say, do something else on the TriCaster, cut a shot, but first send off that command over to Titler Live and say, hey, start your graphic play, and you can make an interstitial or a bumper, and that bumper can have the fresh graphic, the fresh piece of information. It doesn't have to be a pre-rendered asset that you had to do before the show, right? So start the play of the graphic, then 15 frames in, halfway through the graphic, then do your video cut underneath, and then the graphic finally leaves, and that was all done with one button push because it was set up for the show that way. So
now I know it also comes with a whole library of pre-built graphics, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So we have a number of graphics, and there's a number of customers that, hey, I just want to get started. Give me a design. I'm not a designer, right? Maybe I'll get a designer later. I don't know. So we just have a bevy of designs for main bugs, lower thirds, stat graphics. They're 2D oriented. They're 3D oriented, and so there's a lot of variety of style in there. But we always encourage people to open up the title designer and design their own design. And something interesting about that is that we can also import PSD files into the designer and After Effects projects as well. So that opens up the possibilities, because a lot of the artists that you're employing, they're working in those creative tools, and you can bring those in, animate them, and get them to still have live, what we call variables, but live updates inside the graphic.
Okay, so you can bring that After Effects program, or that After Effects composition into NewBlue.
Yeah,
and
what we have is an After Effects exporter plugin.
Okay.
So you have the one design that you want to design, and you go into After Effects, you flag a couple of the things you want to be variables. Then you export that, and that becomes a NewBlue title project that can be used and manipulated depending on the variables that you chose.
Very good.
Yeah.
And what's the typical learning time for NewBlue?
That's another great thing, actually. Because going back to the pedigree of where we started, we were doing Titler Pro, a 3D animated titling solution for editors, not for motion graphic artists.
Sure.
Right? So we started day one thinking about, okay, an editor that understands an edit workflow, how's he gonna or she gonna access that experience? So our design model is very easy to access.
Okay.
We just have tons of people just come back and say, I thought it would be daunting. But it turns out, in a couple hours, I did something very satisfactory. Got up to speed and going. So the accessibility of learning how to use this thing is pretty great in the world of motion graphics.
And that's important. I mean, it's time is everything, and the fact that it's simple to learn kind of gets you into those more powerful features, that much sooner. Being able to interlink the two so that you can use those macros and take advantage of all those layers.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really great. Well, and I know that this is available in the NewTek store, right?
That's right.
And
I think we were the first in the NewTek store.
That's right. A lot of firsts with NewBlue. And the newest version was released fairly recently, wasn't it?
Well, this month we're about to come out with a new update to version 3.
Okay.
So we're on Titler Live version 3. If anyone owns version 3 now, they'll get the update for free.
Okay.
If anyone doesn't yet, go out and buy it, and you're going to get a great new bevy of features. And,
okay. Can you let us in on some of those new features?
Oh, some of the new features is some of the Ntx Engine updates, loopability of different assets, improved spreadsheet control where you have tables of things.
Mention that.
As well as bringing some NDI streams into your graphics that you have.
Okay.
So let's say you have a 2-up or an over-the-shoulder. You can use your switching solution to bring your graphic in, and then in your switching solution do your pip. Or you can say, hey, the graphics tool, this block, this box, this placement in the graphic,
fill it with
bring
live
an NDI
video.
stream in.
Nice.
And so that saves a lot of that configuring work
sure does.
To get done.
That's fantastic. Well, Travis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Showing us NewBlue. For more information, you can go to NewBlueFX.com.
That's right, NewBlueFX.com.
Or better yet, go to the NewTek store and you can pick it up for yourself there in the NewTek store for download purchase. Well, coming up next, we have yet even more NDI news and technology updates. So stick around. We'll be back after a break.